balmy shores of sunny Florida to the cold winds of Chicago and everywhere in between. You're watching the Red Wimet Show, live, coast to coast. And now, Chicago's talk of the town, Mr. Red Wimet.
Hey, I'm here. I was out of stage. I'm sorry, folks. I am Red Wimet, and today is January 19th, 2026. And I'm looking at your comments already. Okay, we have a nice comment, trolls, and the comments are good for the channel. Okay. I guess he's referring to you, Gordio. Anyway, folks, good to see you all. Thank you so much for coming by. Scott, good to see you. Red, I just drove past your part of the state on my way back. I don't doubt it. If you took I-10, you went right by me, guy. I'm not that far from I-10. I use I-10 to go to Dothan, which we missed a little bit of snow up here, guys. I did anyway, but there was snow in other places. This is a name I haven't seen in a while. Lockport Joliet. I'm not missing, but I'll tell you what, it's cold here. It's very cold. Last night it was down to 23 degrees. That was it's cold for this area. And yes, you took I-10. I figured, because that's about the only route going over there from here. Unless you want to take the back roads, and it's rough. 5 degrees in Oak Lawn. That's why I'm not there. Tim Peroni, single digits in Illinois. That's why I'm not there. Anyway, folks, there's a lot of places I'm not. And one of the many places. How you doing, Kraut? Hope I'm staying warm. 1 degree in Wisconsin. Okay. You guys are freezing up there. Although we did have snow, not here, but in the neighborhood, like not far away, like 10 miles from my house. We had snow Sunday. It was cold. It's been cold. But that's not what I'm here to talk about, folks. What I'm talking about is what's going on in Minnesota. What's going on in Minnesota is insane, and specifically in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The governor, who's an idiot, and not alleged idiot, he's an idiot. All these alleged things, when you listen to news there, allegedly. Not alleged, it happened. It's no alleged things. But the governor and the actual mayor of Minneapolis has turned around and said, police officers, you don't help ICE. You don't help ICE at all. You don't do anything for ICE. And the ICE officers brought more ICE officers in. Who's ever in charge there? And now it's gotten to the point where it said they're getting into a pissing contest, more or less. And they're making statements to the public to go out and do whatever they want to do. And it's not to the public, because the people that I've talked to that live there say they're not happy with this. These are paid agitators. But it's gotten down to the point where Trump just called the 82nd Airborne in from 1,500 men from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And that should make a little bit of a difference. I don't know if it will or not. It's like, if you're fighting the police, you got agitators out there fighting. They're throwing rocks, snowballs, whatever they can they're interfering with what they don't think is police business. They're federal agents. And it's just happening the way it's happening. So in the meantime, the leadership is saying, no, don't interfere. Let the people do whatever they want. Well, they're not just the people. The citizens don't want any part of that. The people that live there. Just some paid agitators, that's all. And it's gotten pretty much insane. It really has. But what's basically gotten to the point now is they're saying, well, there's more ICE agents, DHS agents in Minneapolis than they have people to pick up and arrest. And that's true, because they need somebody to protect them, their own people, because the police aren't going to protect them, even though they're sworn to protect anybody that is on the street. Doesn't mean they can't be a police officer or a federal agent. They're supposed to protect them. Okay, we have one of these crazy ones here today. Evidence of a paid presser, please. You know something? You don't need my evidence. There's plenty of it out there. Go look for it. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. Okay, Timothy Reynolds or Knowles. I live in a city in Maine with 1,000 of Somalis over 30 years. Nothing but problems since they got here. You know something? I never even heard about Somalians until back in 2003 or 2004, when they were pirate ships that were going all the way along the coast of Africa and going out and taking ships, into custody and demanding a ransom for it. $1 million, $2 million, whatever they could get. They had faster, smaller boats. They actually did a movie about that, I believe, in 2013. It was called, I don't know, it was with Tom Hanks, and it was Captain Phillips that was on it. But I remember back in 2003, 2004, when I was looking on the internet, you could actually rent firearms on one of the ships and protect the boat. And they had a vast array of firearms. There was all different kinds you could have. I mean, they had machine guns. They had everything, you name it. AK-47s, whatever you wanted, they had it, and plenty of ammunition. Of course, you had to pay like $10,000. But the truth of the matter is that was their way of paying them and keeping the pirates off of the ships, and it worked. Of course, some liberal idiot turned around and said, he said that it was unfair, it was inhumane, wasn't right. Thank you so much. I agree also. We just have one up here that doesn't agree with us. Link some evidence collecting. No, I'm not going to do that. You can go out and look for it yourself, guy. Sorry, fools. Did you call me a fool? Hey, guess what, fool? Goodbye. It's over. You lost your platform to speak on. You're saying there isn't a nonprofit school in Minnesota. Mr. Diarrhea, I farted. Okay, goodbye. You got your problems too. Some issues. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I agree with the fact that there's disruption, and what's happening up there is insane. And most of the people that I talk to that live up there, Leanne lives up there. I mean, there's other people that are friends of mine, people members of this channel that are friends of mine, and they live up there, and they're not saying they're in line with this at all, in any way whatsoever. Wasn't worded to you, Red. The guy you booted was a question for, well, I didn't like his attitude. Okay. If you're talking about Mr. Diarrhea, who said he farted, I don't like his attitude. I don't need that here. He can play with somebody else. Do you really have to believe there are 0 protesters being paid? Not me. And I don't know if they are or not. Is it manufactured? I'll tell you what's not manufactured, the violence. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying before I got off on the troll comments, was that what we have is a bad situation. And usually situations like that, where you have to call in the military to straighten out the National Guard, which is backing up the police, which is not helping the citizens, which elected these fools to be in charge of everything. That's the citizens. It's not just one little group, it's all of them. The majority elected these people. And guess what? It's not working. And when the military gets there, do you think they're going to respect the military? I don't. I think there'll be violence, a lot of it. But the way that leaders are speaking, like the governor who's on his way out, and other people, the way they're speaking, they want to secede from the union. I heard that by the mayor. He said he wanted to secede from the union. And I said, whoa, this guy has no education at all. The United States is the only thing that you can join that you can't quit. You have to make application to become part of the United States. That's how we become states. But once you make application, you're accepted. You're never let go. It's like forever. It's absolute insanity. Does not work. Even the outfit, the Chicago mafia. Once you quit, you don't leave, or once you start, you take the oath, you don't leave. Well, it's the same way in statehood. The last time that anybody tried to leave the United States, it was, I believe it was Virginia, South Carolina, and some of the other southern states. And we had a civil war. And that's what it was. But I believe that we should have a different Iron Mike. The liberals won the Civil War. Yeah, they in some ways they did. In some ways they did. I mean, that war, nobody really won that war. I mean, you can claim victories or whatever because the territory was gotten, but with all the men that were killed and all the damage that was done, that war was not even won. You don't win a war like that. It just doesn't happen. But as I look back and I look forward, yes, you're absolutely right. Back up here. I beg your pardon. You want to correct me? Correct me right. If you're going to correct me, say something accurate because I heard it on the news today and it wasn't somebody speaking it. It was out of his own mouth. Said he didn't want to be a part of it. And my idea is this: you don't want to be part of it? Fine. We'll put up checkpoints on every interstate and every road that crosses into Wisconsin or another state from Minnesota. And you have to tell the people at the border, there'll be like a what do you call it, a toll road where you stop. And you'll have to tell people at the border exactly what state you're going into, how long you're going to be there. It'd be like crossing into Canada. That's the way it should be. You want it that way, that's the way it should be. And then you can collect your own taxes. You can do whatever you want with your own state. And guess what? The population will diminish to nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nobody's going to want to live there. I wouldn't want to live there. Any of you folks want to live there with that? None of us want to deal with any of those things. It is what it is. And you are absolutely right. Most people in Minnesota aren't rioting Democrats. They hate the law enforcement. But then again, they're being misrepresented. And if anybody's going to do what I just suggested, to secede from the United States, let them run themselves. Propose that to them and see what they say. You want to be alone? Fine, be alone. And guess what happens? They're not going to like it. They won't need to worry about anything that's federal. I don't know if liberals hate America. I'm a conservative in some ways and a liberal in others. And I don't hate America. It's just like I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I don't swear my loyalty to one party. I don't really swear my loyalty to anybody except I support people that have the same things that I believe in. That's just the way I am. And as far as being a racist because I don't like Somalians, it's not because I met any Somalians. I don't like what they're doing. People need to pay taxes if they want to get health care. Yeah, well, let them do it through the state. I mean, if they don't want to be part of the United States, they don't want to follow the rules of the United States, then let them just pay for their own stuff. Forget federal income tax. You're not going to get any support. You're not going to get any highway support. You're getting nothing. That's it. That's what I believe. And I agree with you, Scott, 100%. These rioters, they're not demonstrators, are not liberals. They're insurrectionists. Yes, I believe that, 1,000%. We're getting a few amens there, so I think it is. And what is this, an argument to me? It seems to me if he voiced secession, wishes Trump would have his own reasons to invoke the Insurrection Act. I think you're going to see the Insurrection Act invoked. You have 1,500 troopers coming from Fort Bragg, and it's probably going to be necessary to do that. And when it happens, you're going to have 1,500 troops on the street. That's only going to escalate. What do you think? These people, they didn't respect ICE. They don't respect the FBI. They don't respect these other people. And they spit on them. They throw bottles at them and other things. And they're just going to walk away from the troops? No. They will treat the troops the same. And the troops will not get any, assistance from anybody. And as far as the dead civilians go, maybe that's what it's going to take. I don't know. I really don't. Who's rioting? Haven't you seen any live footage? Minnesota taking it from all sides. Nick, right now. That's fraud getting busted in the middle of all this. It is. But where is the money going? Where is that money going that they're getting busted for? It's going back to politicians. It's getting funneled back. Oh, yeah. Some other people are getting away with it that they can blame. And the money's going out of the country. I mean, a lot of things are going on here that are just anti-American, period. Totally anti-American. The troops are not ICE. They're trained. Yes, they are trained. And they will follow orders. But I can guarantee you, they will have the orders at the same. The last 8 or 9 times they were called out, they will have the same orders. And that is, do not attack anyone. Only restrain people. Stop people from interfering. And that will just escalate over and over and over. I see that coming. What I'm afraid I see is not exactly what everybody else sees. I see a possible civil war. Possible. But then again, I saw this way back when Obama was elected. I voted for Obama. I wanted to change. And I got to change. But I saw a lot of things changing. And I said, I want to get out of a city. I don't want to be in a city. I want to leave. I want to get to a safe place. And I'm kind of glad I did. The only thing that's different about that county now is Donald Trump lives there. And I'm not necessarily a fan or support everything that Donald Trump does. There's a few things I do support that he does. And there's some things that I don't. You might say I'm a free-spirited person that has a mind of my own. That's the way it is. But that's just me. Yes, the same thing did happen with George Floyd. Very much so. And what happened? And do I remember Kent State? Yeah, I remember Kent State. But you know what I also remember? I remember the 68 Democratic riots where Mayor Daley said, shoot to kill. And there was nothing but tear gas in crowds of hundreds or thousands of people that were out there. And believe me, they dispersed between the dogs, between the mounted police, between the ones on trikes running around, hitting people, knocking them over, between the riot batons and everything else. They broke up the crowd. But it doesn't seem that they're doing that today. That's all unfair. It's not right. We do need somebody like Mayor Daley would never allow anything to happen in Minneapolis if he was mayor up there back in the day. It just wouldn't happen, period. Why don't I just go back to Britain? Well, I was born here and I served this country. I served in the United States Marine Corps. So the truth of the matter is, I've got a right to say whatever I want to say, aside from freedom of speech. 2 days ago, Nick says, Patterson, 2 days ago, I watched the mess with this guy so bad. He was leaking from all over his face, bleeding through his clothes. And then they chased him all the way to his car and then jumped in his car. Yeah, where's the police protection for that? I mean, I don't see it. Yes, they do have the tools to stop an insurrection. But will they? I don't think they will. I don't think they'll be able to. When the National Guard is fighting with the troops and the Minneapolis Police and the county police and the state police are fighting with the troops to protect the people that live there, that's a problem. That's a major problem. I'll tell you what, you pray for us. Britain is a globalist dump. They might be. Oh, you're in Great Britain. Okay. I understand now. You're not in the US. Gotcha. Trump is a child rapist. Well, do you know that to be a fact? I know something to be a fact. You're a loudmouth asshole. Goodbye. You can differ, but you haven't made a case for a holy war. You're right. LaRanch. From outside, we think Trump has a dangerous temper and he could do some major stuff. What are your thoughts on this? I don't think he will. And from what you see on the news, um, I don't know that it's accurate. Not even Fox. I don't know if any of it's accurate. I really don't. But I've never seen him with a major temper. I've never seen him throw a temper tantrum. And I probably watched him more than you ever have. Paul Marino, a known symptom from TDS is pedophilia. What has that got to do with my channel? Stop it, Paul. Don't do it again. Gave you a little bit of a break there. Seems like we have a lot of activity in the comments going back and forth. Trump is supporting us. I don't know who you're talking about, Dead. We'll just call you Dead. I don't, whatever. He's supporting Epstein, who was a child rapist. You know, I don't really you don't really know what you're talking about. You really don't. We're having a lot of arguments back and forth about TDS. You're most welcome. You're most welcome. I actually had a guy on here who had a USMC logo that was challenging me. He wanted to know about different battles and stuff like that. I don't want to talk about it, period. But thank you. You're welcome. You're very welcome. I got to take this one. Who remembers the days where just talking about politics was never the thing? In fact, in the UK, it was frowned upon. Well, I remember the days, and it's in different movies that we have here in Chicago, where they had taverns, or what you might call a public house, and in the US, and they said, no religion, no politics. There was a sign at the door. And if you ever started anything that way, you rejected. And that's the way it went. So while we have these difficulties about Obama loves Mike. Okay. I know you live in Florida, Red. Okay. Rooting for the football championship game. Indiana or Miami? That's a rough one. I just watched the Bears yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. And I really can't answer your question because it's not a matter of who I'm going to really support. You know, that's enough of conversation about that particular subject. If you think that that's what we should have on Martin Luther King's birthday, on his day today, and talk about that, there's something wrong with you. Okay, you're a Marine. Yes, I am. Till the day I die. That's a badass, man. I'm not from the US, but I visited there before and super thankful. You're welcome. We try to make everybody safe. That's what we've done all our lives. I've given most of my life to this country. That's great, Nick. Yes, somebody hit that like button for me. I need the help. You know, I hate to see uneducated people like you, say things like this. A ghetto thug was a real piece of nonsense. He wasn't a ghetto thug, and you never met him. I did. You never listened to him. I did. I was down in Old Town in Chicago, and he was preparing to do a march in Chicago, and I listened to him. He was a great man. There were black people there, lots of black people, and that's what I called them. No Afro-American, no anything else. They were just called black people. Sometimes I call them colored people because that's what we did back then. That was history. And he was very well educated. Very well educated. And I heard him say, if you don't want to get spat upon, if you don't want to get rocks thrown at you, do not march with me because we are doing a peaceful march. And he was not ghetto at all. He was quite a guy. He impressed me. One of the few people in history that did impress me very, very much. Yeah, it does. It really does. Well, here's your public record. How do you like that? And that's the way he did talk. I heard him. This isn't some written speech or a YouTube thing, somebody talking about it. This is something that I actually heard. Deal with the facts. I'll tell you what, we're going to deal with your facts right now. The fact is, I don't like you. I don't like what you're saying. Yes, I certainly did. It was on Orleans Street, just west of Wells Street in Chicago. Thank you. You know something? You are a genuine asshole. I don't know what country you're from. I don't know what you're about at all. But I can tell you this much. You're through. Stay off my channel. But anyway, that's what it seems to be about with me. I don't know if you guys are talking to each other or what you're doing back here. Watch your language. You're now in timeout. You're asking me a question. I'm going to give you an answer. What was my first impression about MLK? And how did you feel about it? My first impression was negative because I saw him getting together with people like Jesse Jackson, who was a real con man and a loser and an exploiter. And I watched him do that too. But my impression of him was not very good. My first look at him. And then after I looked at him carefully and listened to him and listened to what he told people, I said, this guy has got more guts than anybody I know. I mean, he's going into a bunch of white people that hate him. And he knows he's going to get spit on. He knows rocks and bricks and other things are going to get thrown at him. And he's going to be abused. And I looked at that and said, this guy is brave. And he's going to make a point. And he reminded me of somebody at that point, not from first glance, but he reminded me of somebody in history. Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi was a pacifist and believed that no matter what happens, if they beat you, whatever they do to you, they can't win. And he was right. And so was Martin Luther King. You got to have respect for a man like that. Scott, I'm sorry you're not seeing a lot of the comments. There's some of it going, yeah, it's going in different ways. But I don't like some of the things that are being said. is different now. Totally different. Burton, he wasn't a good man, no matter what you guys say or believe. Well, you seem to know everything. Whoever you're talking about. What was the biggest change in society overall did you see since you were a kid? Oh, wow. I'd have to say, um, hmm, biggest change in society. I would have to say it started with electronics. The biggest change was in the 60s. That was the biggest change that I saw. Texas or bust. Hey, Red, never mind the clowns. Hope you are doing well. Thank you. Thank you, Star Wars. What's going on here? I don't have any idea. I've never seen this kind of craziness. And I don't know what's wrong with me admiring somebody for being good. Hopefully we won't have that civil war. You know, I was thinking the same thing. It's not a full moon, but it is Friday. It will be. But I was thinking the same thing. If MLK doesn't give me a payday off, I do not recognize this day as a holiday. Well, that's your opinion. That's what you're allowed to do. There is not going to be a civil war. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. You're welcome, Pablo. You're definitely welcome. This kind of comments have to go. And the people have to go with them. Kraut, society's biggest change, in my opinion, is a sheer decrease in people practicing honor, discipline, and honesty. Well, when did that start, Kraut? That I can't remember when it started, because I remember all through the 60s it was great. In the 70s, I think I started to notice it, folks, when people were coming home from Vietnam and they were getting spit on. And I didn't have that problem. When I was coming home, everything was, I'll buy you a drink, whatever. It was that way. So it was different. Stephen Daniels, I'm 71 years old, lived in California all your life. The change you saw in society was after Vietnam. That's about what I'm saying. In the 70s, that's when I started to see things change. We see the same things. I did not live in California. I don't like California personally. It's much too liberal for me, the places I was at. So even when I was stationed out there, when I was in the Marine Corps, I was stationed at Camp Pendleton for a while. It was too much for me. And when I went up to Travis Air Force Base to fly over to Big Pond, I didn't like it up there either. My mom was sold as a kid for drugs. But who are you? I have no idea, and it's a shame that happened if it's really true. You're in San Diego near Pendleton. Yeah. I went from MCRD San Diego up to Camp Pendleton in a cattle car. That was back in 1965, long time ago. Truth hurts. The hatred of America was started by Obama and then perpetuated by Hillary. I don't know if it was just perpetuated by the presidents. It was the people they had around them in the cabinets. And that's what I see. I see a lot of it, an awful lot of it. I don't like it, but there's not too much I can do it. Jesse Jackson wrote in his book that he used to spit in white people's food. He did. I saw him not only say that, but it was in his book. And he really was a racist. He hated white people. He really did. And he said he was Martin Luther King's successor, and he was not. And the rest of the people did not accept him. So he went back to Chicago and did his own thing there. It's not safe to live here if you're a Republican. Well, that's a shame because it really, wherever you're at, it should be safe to live. There should be no problem. A name like this, the Almighty hates me. Hatred of America, 1913, when the government started income tax. I guess some great opinions on there. Republicans today are nothing but a bunch of Dixiecrats. Mississippi, 1955. I don't know about that. That's what bothers me. Honor our heritage. Locks of rage in Texas over Minneapolis. Why? Why? How you doing, Mickey? It's good to hear from you. And that was exactly my opinion. Jackson was no comparison. And that's why his leaders did not accept him as taking his place, Martin Luther King's place. We have so many comments here. How you doing, guy? Bob? Is it safe in Polk County? Yes, it is. Yeah, Sheriff Grady wouldn't put up. There isn't anybody in this whole state that will. They won't do that. It's not going to happen. Did people really feel that colored people were basically not considered human? Not in my lifetime. How did they convince the public? I don't know. I really don't. Because the general public was not considered or convinced. And there is a rage because it's proven that these immigrants have changed the outcome of elections. They also have changed money, advertising. And where did that money go? It went to the people they elected. It seems that Republicans today believe my private property is their country after I paid my taxes. I don't know about that. Did I serve in the Marine Corps? Yes, I did. Did that help you become an FBI agent? I was not an FBI agent. I was a mole for the FBI. But most of the agents that I worked with did serve in the Marine Corps. Almost all of them. That's the way it was back in those days. All the way through the 70s, even into the 80s. Mickey, you're glad you caught me. I'm glad you caught me too, guy. Yes, the money was sent back to Somalia. And that's not a bad idea. $50,000 for any police officer to leave his department and go to ICE. It's not paid all at one lump sum. It's paid over 3 years. Look it up. But they will pay off your student loans. Matthew. That's like saying everybody's in favor of justice when justice is self-serving. Could be true. Could be very true. I get to ban users. I love this. Some of you people, I wonder what I'm doing. I'm banning a few people here. Their language is foul. Their attitudes are bad. Funny how you support Trump. Did I say that? Oh, you're saying that. I said I support some of his ideas. All of a sudden, you're a mole for the FBI. No, it didn't happen all of a sudden. It happened probably way when you were a little baby or something like that. In August of 1971 is when it happened. I wrote a book about it. Not just about that, but about my life, period. Basic logic or based logic. You I believe, or you must be talking to somebody else about believing in free speech. I believe it to a certain degree in free speech until it gets to the point where you're hurting other people with your language and with what you're saying. And you're antagonizing them. It's free speech, but it can be very expensive. Especially you get a slap upside the head with a sap. That can make it very, very uncomfortable. Veterans before illegals, I would say everyone before illegals. I've sponsored people to come here in the United States from the UK or from England. And when I did, they had to go through a lot of things. They had to swear an oath to this country, and they had to take tests, written tests, oral tests. It was the way it was. And I believe that there's nothing wrong with that. Jim Magnifici, 8,000 IRS agents that Biden wanted should be ICE agents. I agree, 1,000%. But see, that was all a bunch of baloney, because those ICE agents, or the IRS agents that he hired, they weren't actually field agents. That was just a big threat to scare people. That's all. The problem is right now, the government has no middle ground. It's either right or left. Good ideas come from both sides. I think that's true. I agree with you. I don't know if the whole country has the same problem that you have. Our school system here is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Our parents get involved with it. Our public gets involved with it. And that's the way it is. You have the right to say what you want without fear of the government consequences, but you're not free from getting punched in the face. You're right. Absolutely right. That's the way it is. I never heard any left-wing ideas that were good. I mean, some people considered me to be left-wing when I fought for something that was the voting age. And when I went to Vietnam, my voting age was 21. And I came home and I joined a young Republican Party, even though I was a Democrat. I I joined a young Republican Party in Chicago, and we fought for the right to lower the age to 18. Was it liberal? Yeah, I guess that was a liberal idea to lower the age. It wasn't conservative. But I guess you might say that came from the left. Did I like it? Yeah. Do I believe in it? Still today. I always do. Only fists, only fools will bring fists to a gunfight. You're right about that one. Take in third world immigration and have third world problems. That's exactly what we're having. Bro, I'm not mad at you. Ice reaction gunfire. I'm not mad at any of you guys, not even the ones with foul mouths and bad minds. I'm not mad at you. I feel bad for you, very bad for you. Try sticking your hand. Try sticking your hand in an American citizen, your hand on an American citizen in Oklahoma, buddy, without a warrant. Well, they do it every day, guy. They arrest people off the street. And you don't need a warrant. You need what they call probable cause. It happens. It happens all the time in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, Oklahoma City. It is what it is. I don't think they're leftist mobs. I think they may lean towards some riotous actions, but I don't think they're on the left. I don't think the media is calling them properly. Talk about thugs. I think they're a bunch of thugs. You're in Oklahoma City, and we are arresting hundreds of illegals. I don't doubt it. Oklahoma never did like undesirable people. Red, I identify as Republican, but fiscally conservative, morally moderate, and liberal tendencies. Take care and see you all Wednesday. God bless you, Gordio. Be safe, my man. I like your ideas. Very good point here. ICE is operating in Texas, but the leadership is smart enough to cooperate with the federal government. I think it is too. And this is something that I think is very smart, very clever, and very true and very accurate. If you're not breaking the law, you have nothing to worry about police, let alone ICE. I agree. And if federal agents are moving around in your neighborhood and you're not doing anything wrong, then what do you have to worry about? If I looked like I wasn't a citizen and I didn't have any identification on me, I wouldn't be worried about being picked up at all because I know I have fingerprints. You can print me and find out where I live and why I don't have ID and take it from there. But that's just me. The only unsuspected people here. Watch your language. Okay? Scooby-Doo, 420. I got a bad feeling about you just from your name alone. The 420 tells me weed, and the Scooby-Doo tells me him. Great show today. Well, it's different. It is different, guy. Anyway, I want to thank all of you for coming by. And the algorithm hates me. I don't think legal should remain the issue. Whatever. Christina, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll say goodbye to one more person here. My buddy Anthony. After all, he put my intros and outros. Howdy, guy. Anthony, thank you. I'm about to hit one of your exits here. God bless you, buddy. Okay, guys. Until Wednesday, Red We Met, out.
The combination of the videotapes and We Met's testimony resulted in the conviction of 2 men on extortion charges. One of them was Frank Schweiz, known in syndicate circles as the German, a feared mob terrorist and a suspect in a number of gangland murders.
He was described to me by other outfit individuals as the most feared hitman. And as he said to me, my reputation precedes me, son.